Hey there, Global Church family. Welcome to your ongoing conversation about international missions at Fellowship Bible Church, where you get a front row seat to hear what God is continually doing to establish His church around the world. My name's Mark Francis, and I am the host for today and excited to share a family with you that recently went to family camp. If you're watching, this is a unique experience because this is the first time an entire family has been on a podcast here at Fellowship Bible Church. We have the Van Drunens with us today. So, John, I'll let you introduce yourself because you've been on these podcasts before, but just share with the audience here who you are, what you do here at FBC.
So, John Van Drunen, and I serve as the executive pastor, but also have had the benefit of being involved in actually making a scouting trip with Scott McManigal for leading up to the first family camp, and also helping to facilitate some of the things on the logistics front the first year, and this year on the teaching front. And I'm joined by my wife, Lauren.
Hello.
And our three boys, Micah, Gideon, and Benjamin.
Hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Yes, you guys are amazing. I'm so excited to have you guys here. We get the whole Van Drunen clan in full effect. And all five of you went to family camp together, right?
Yeah.
Were you guys there a year ago too? All five of you?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, so this is your second year, and this is our church's second year to really help facilitate this family camp. Rewind us back. So John, you alluded to that, how you first started to scout out this opportunity for us. And it began even before a family camp kind of was even in the twinkling of an eye of our church. It starts with our relationship with the Native American churches.
Yeah, so over the last several years, Scott and Jim have really had a burden for what is the real opportunities to serve the Native American church, or to help establish churches within the Native American community. Because there's really, as we're looking at it, generally speaking, there's a lack of Bible teaching churches on these reservations. And so how do we help come alongside and encourage? There's almost 600 different tribes in our backyard. And so through a series of contacts that Scott McManigal can probably better share in that context, really came to know Chris Little, Laura Brule, Hilltop Baptist Church in South Dakota. And Chris reached out about 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago, with an opportunity that, hey, we have this group of Dakota Native American churches that usually has a family camp each year. And the church that used to help facilitate that from Oklahoma had taken a step back during COVID in that, and asked if we would be willing to help host and facilitate that. And so this became a great opportunity to really accomplish a number of things, not only to build a relationship with these churches that have been, some of them operating for years, some of them a little bit newer, but how do we connect with these churches? And then also, how do we help facilitate an opportunity for the body at FBC to really be deployed in missions? How many opportunities do we really have for a family, including younger kids, to be able to go out and be involved in a missions trip? And this is very much a cross-cultural missions trip, even though you think, well, it's still within the United States. It's a couple, it's a big road trip, but it's very much a cross-cultural ministry.
And you share how it is truly in our backyard. I mean, it's in the United States, and here we are talking about a global missions outreach opportunity. It feels like it could be a different country when you're going there. So, Lauren, your experience, you went there last year, and now again this year. What's your overall take of how this really is a mission field for our church?
Right. So they need hope. There is on the reservations just a lack of opportunities, a lack of jobs, a lack of just things to do. And the one that we visited was an hour from the closest city. And kids last year commented that they'd never been off the reservation. So they're oohing and ahhing driving across North Dakota. So there's just a generation after generation of there's not really anything else to do. So they need hope.
And they also have a history of obviously abuse and a history of just as our own society and culture, a history of just lack of care and support. And this idea of being pushed off into a reservation is just still just mind-blowing. How
It's a complicated history of here.
So their perspective of a white person, white man's church coming to, either be a missionary to them or support them, it hasn't gone well over the years.
Right. One of the things that any of the families that were going on the trip were equipped with is a book called The New Trail of Tears. If anybody's interested, it's a fascinating read to understand more of that history of what this has looked like. And for example, Lauren alluded to some of the economic elements around this. Imagine being in a situation where nothing that you have grows in value or appreciates. Everything you have depreciates. They're not, within the whole reservation system, they're not able to own their own home. They're not able to own their own land. They're not even, there's very little in terms of that regard. And so, they have a car, and so sometimes they have a car, they're borrowing a car from somebody else or catching a ride from somebody else. And just the opportunity to, in the midst of this, Lorna was alluding to the lack of hope that there is. It's no wonder that addictions are as prevalent as they are, because they're looking for some comfort. And what a joy it is to be able to share Christ. And who God is.
The true hope.
Right.
Everything else is going to be a lost cause.
Right.
Well, we call it family camp. And we call it family camp for a reason, because we're inviting a bunch of different families from different churches in the Native American areas, surrounding areas, to come have a fun week. So, boys, you get a chance to tell me, what does family camp mean to you? What happened during the week? What did you guys see and experience and do? Fire away.
I think it was amazing because I got to know some of my friends from FBC here better, and I got to know people who were here from family camp last year better, and I got to meet new people. There's a lot of people there, a lot of kids to know and make friends.
So there's a lot of FBC people who came to help serve, right? About 50 or 60 people total?
Yeah, so we have families serving families. And part of this is, then depicting, some of the regular elements of how do we navigate family life together.
But is that like a cool, I would call it a campground,
Yes.
right? So what are some of the things that you do every day? When you wake up, what happens?
For me, it was either Gaga Ball or drinking Kool-Aid.
Okay. A lot of Kool-Aid. That's cool.
Yes.
It was probably hot, too, so you probably needed all
Yeah.
that Kool-Aid. Yeah.
How about you, Ben? What are some of the things?
It might have been going to the dining hall and just finding my friends and waiting for one of my other friends so we could sit and talk together.
What was some of the food that you guys ate? What was your favorite meal?
I liked it all.
You liked it all? That's impressive. Easy to please.
It's really hard to pick. Those Carolina ladies did an excellent job cooking.
So there's a group of ladies
Yeah.
and a couple gentlemen that come up from North Carolina that have volunteered. They're also from the Lumdee tribe and have volunteered to do all the cooking. And it is Southern cooking at its
So it's a Native American crowd from North Carolina.
Yes.
That's willing to volunteer the same way that we're volunteering to show up to this area.
Yes. They send
serve.
a bus full of about 8 or 10 folks that are helping with cook and
Cool.
crafts and all kinds of fun stuff.
Cool. Now you guys also did a little bit of craft time and study time and Bible time, things like that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
We had, I don't know what to say, but how like we had a little more family like association this year.
Cool.
A little bit more time together to do
Yeah.
activities as a family rather than
Not being all separate.
all separated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Family scavenger hunt.
Yes.
I liked being in the 6th and 7th grade, or the 6th, the seniors class, the junior and seniors class, because he spent about half of our time learning about God and His unfailing grace and His eternal plan. And we spent the other half of our lesson time playing human foosball or gaga ball or hiking up the butte, and it was just time to get to know each other and fellowship.
Cool. So you're talking about some of your own friends from here from FBC. How about the people in the Native American crowd? Were there kids your own age that you
Yes.
were able to
Yeah.
hang out with?
Yeah, they're just like us. They want to play, they want to have fun. They do pretty much the same things as us.
Yep. But just come from a different location, different background. But
Yeah.
how did you get a sense of what they know about God? Did you have any kind of interactions or conversations with any friends
Yeah.
about Jesus at all?
Yeah. So one time I had just gotten out in Gaga Ball, and there was somebody that was already out that was from one of the Native American churches, and he said, "Do you know who Jesus is? Could you tell me a little bit about him?" So we talked until there was a new round.
What did you tell him? How did you answer that?
I told him what I believed, and I told him that there was a book that I read called the Bible, and it's really helpful.
I think also during Gaga Ball, I got a sense of how they showed mercy on the younger children who maybe necessarily haven't quite learned the game yet or aren't as good as it yet at it yet, and they would let the littler kids win.
Aw, that's
Yeah.
cool. So a little opportunity to show some love and grace and kindness to the
Definitely.
younger kids. No bullies are out there just smacking people with the ball,
No.
Definitely.
make them get out. Yeah.
No.
I mean, if you count Calvin Poole.
Oh yeah. Okay, we'll call out Calvin. Yeah.
Or
He's good. He's good at that game though.
Or
So.
Caleb
Take it
Oaklak.
seriously.
Yeah. There's some competitive playing of Gaga Ball, and we had 9 square in the air there this year, and there was high ropes and a whole
Nice.
bunch of fun stuff.
Nice. So walk us through a typical day, Lauren. Like what time you waking up? Then what's kind of the schedule of the day?
5 a.m. when the sun comes up.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, we help make coffee, so we're probably not the best folks to talk about when we woke up.
Yeah.
We started out with breakfast all together and then a short time of worship, and Josh Patterson set the tone for the day of like, this is what we're talking about today, of understanding who God is. And then that broke us up into by age groups of the adults meeting together, the youth, the kids, for all age appropriate lessons and activities to talk about God's plan of grace. And then following lunch, we had another discussion time, and then an afternoon of just some free time, but some structured activities where high ropes. Chris Little brought horses with him this year, which was really cool for the kids to get to interact around taking care of the horses, and family scavenger hunt game, and then another time of worship in the evening just to close out the day together.
Yeah, and this year, each evening we either had a campfire all together. They have probably the largest campfire pit I've ever seen there. It's probably about 10, 15 feet across. And we would have s'mores for, 150 people all at one time.
Wow.
It's a little organized chaos. But then we would
Was
take
it
opportunities.
like Nebuchadnezzar's fiery furnace? Get close to it and
It
it's a big bonfire.
It was
getting
warm.
singed.
It was warm. But this is in the North Dakota Badlands, So we either had that, or we had this year we had Joel and Rachel McManigal come and share a perspective about missions in Thailand, and we had the Delgados come from Ecuador and share a perspective of ministry in Ecuador, and so then it was very helpful to have multiple cross-cultural experiences, both for our family as well as for the Native American families.
So you mentioned that there was about 50 or 60 FBC there.
Right.
How many of the Native American families attended? Like, give us a perspective of how big of a crowd total there was there.
Yeah, I don't know the exact numbers. Sarah Rozecki and Rachel Poole handled all the registration, but I think in total, including the FBC crowd, I think it was about 140 people there at camp. We had some from FBC that weren't able to make it out due to sickness, but it's one of those things where the total camp was about 140 people. So I would say probably between 90 and 100 from the Native American churches.
Cool. And obviously our goal, and Scott and Jim and the missions crowd, their goal is to build bridges, build relationships, but also impart the grace of God and have those lessons be shared during the course of the week for all age groups. What stories were you able to glean at the end of the week of what was some of the reactions from those who might have been hearing that for the first time?
Yeah. So one of the situations, just reflecting on, like, I had the opportunity to do small group discussion with the adults, and Lauren did with the adult males, and Lauren did with the adult females, and then Scott and Jim met with the pastors from these different churches. But we talked about God and about man and about salvation and about the living the Christian life. And one of the gentlemen I was talking with, he was one of 13 guys that grew up together, going to school together, and he's one of 3 that are still alive today, and he's in his late 30s. The others have all passed due to addiction, accidents, suicide. It's a different world of trials. But this gentleman, this was actually his second year being able to come back, and he was really helpful in talking about this idea of, it's not about me and my works, it's about God and who God is and what he's done for us, and the joy and the relief that is, and now, as they're raising kids, to be able to point their kids and say, let's change the perspective here of some adrift. Or there was another gentleman I was talking with. He and his wife had been separated for a couple weeks leading up to camp, but they decided to come to camp anyway, and really just feeling a conviction of, it's not about me trying to do this in my own power. It's trusting Christ in that personal relationship.
Lauren, what'd you see?
Yeah, with the women, one woman, as the week went on, she made a couple of comments about, she's like, I know that God is asking me to forgive my husband. And I think I can do that when I go back home. And she steadily wrote, like she was taking notes and writing out prayers too, as during the sessions, as things were coming to mind, and I think is what she was processing. And another woman told me, she's like, I was not sure I was going to come. Up until the point that the pastor pulled into my driveway, I was still, I don't know. But I came, and I'm so glad I did, because I learned so much studying with others. And she's one who, when she goes back home, her sister was there, but a lot of their other family and friends are very antagonistic toward her as a Christian now. So continue to pray for her that encouragement from the week she'll know God's strengthening as she goes back and interacts with friends and family who are questioning, what are you doing and why are you going to that church? And then another couple that was actually their second year coming to camp, she shared how God had worked in her and her husband's life for them to be sober 3 years now, both of them. Had both become believers, had reconciled in their marriage, And now they're at family camp 2 years in a row with their older kids up through like their twin 2-year-olds of being able to pass on this to their next generation. So
That's
neat to
great.
hear, like as
Yeah.
we've talked all week about God's eternal plan of redemption, seeing God's redemptive work in each of their lives and personally for them.
I can see a true value in a camp like this that is meant to, yes, encourage the believers of these small, just baby churches around that area, just to give them some fun, some refreshment, some just change of pace. Somebody who said that the kids never been off the reservation, seriously, and here get a chance to interact with some other believers in Christ here in the States, to encourage them, but then also send them back home a little more closer to Christ, to where they can be a light to their own church or to their own community who don't know the Lord.
Well, and I would say we'd be remiss if we didn't say that it ministered to us.
Yeah.
Not only was it an opportunity for us each to be able to serve in different ways of, following Ephesians 4, but it also ministered to us as a family, not only in the journey of going 1700 miles out there, but also just in the opportunities to have these each unique experiences, and how do we grow in our understanding of what God's doing in our lives, let alone the lives of all these other people that we're meeting with.
Boys, I'll ask for your thoughts on that. Where basically you guys now have got a chance to have fun at a camp, but you're also serving. You're also helping people out. Would you go back? Do you want to do it again?
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah. So why would you go back? What draws you to do that?
There was no meanness. All the kids were nice, and again, I said the sportsmanship. Everyone was fine with losing, and if you win, everyone clap for you, especially the little kids.
Yeah. Gideon, why do you think you want to go back?
What I really liked about it was the sports, because I noticed that a lot of the kids have like their own version of the sports that we play here in Virginia or anywhere else, and they like for Gaga Ball they had a different version, and people were like, no, this isn't this state, so we shouldn't do that version. And when we did the other version, how we play it here, then the other people were like, no, it's not as fun.
You guys are able to kind of collaborate and get together, get along with other people that you haven't hung out with for at all, and you get a chance to experience other people's ways of doing it.
But there
That's cool.
was some arguments about if you're out or not.
Of course there would be.
And that's the beauty of it. It's real. It's not putting on a facade.
Yeah.
It's real life. And okay, how do we navigate real life as families?
Yeah. Benjamin?
Well, I really liked it because when Mr. Chris brought the horses, it was really fun. I got to make some new friends, and I'm pretty sure that it was their first time hearing about Jesus, and I just hope that they're able to know more about Jesus.
Yeah, that's cool. And you guys realize that what you're doing is serving the Lord and blessing those people that were able to come. And you're doing it together as a family.
Yeah.
That's fun. Yeah. That's cool. So somewhat of a vacation and a missions trip all combined in one. You guys were in the car driving out there all together, and you survived. Yeah,
and that's actually part of that journey that makes it. I mean, it would be kidding if we said we didn't have any disagreements in a car ride that long, but that's part of that growing together as a family.
Yep. Well, thank you guys for being here. I mean, I hope it's been encouraging and inspiring to the guys, to everybody watching and listening. And the future. So share a little bit about what
Sure.
we hope to continue with this family camp idea.
So the Native American First Nations Association has asked FBC if we would do that again.
Okay.
And so the tentative dates for next year are June 8 to 13. And if any families are interested in learning more about that, I'd ask you to just connect with any of the families that were on the trip. There's an opportunity, whether you're single or a couple or a family of any age, to really be involved in this. And so, encourage you to look at that. They're going to start making announcements and recruiting people to join even this fall, so that people can get that on their calendars. One of the things that everybody should know, that as a church, in order to leave space, because we don't know until everybody shows up how many people are coming from the Native American churches. And so in order to provide space for those that are wanting to come from these Native American churches, FBC all takes the posture that we are not going to take the best. In fact, the word for white man in Lakota means the one who takes the best of things. And so what we have said is we're not going to take the best of things, and so we're all going to camp. So if people have a camper, like a trailer or RV of some sort, or tents, vast majority of FBCers were in tents. And some people opted to go get a hotel room in town, which is about 10, 15 minutes away. We're providing the best accommodations for those coming from the Native American churches.
That's a great final thought to know, okay, how can you prepare? How can we be a servant for that crowd that's showing up to just bless them and point them to Christ?
Yeah.
Well, you guys are a great example. Thank you for being here. This is probably the most reserved I've seen all of you guys together. So well done. I don't know what your mom and dad promised you at the end of this.
Nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
No ice cream out of this or anything?
No.
Oh my goodness. You need
Not yet, at
to
least.
work your negotiations a little bit
Not
harder.
yet.
Yes. Okay. All right. After the
I think
show.
Mark
here.
is taking us all for ice cream.
Well,
Here's
thank
a
you
clip.
guys once again for watching and listening. And remember, you can catch up on all of our podcasts there at fbcva.org/podcast. Continue to submit your thoughts and questions to us, where we get a chance to share more about what God is doing around the world. So remember that it is Christ. He's the one who's continually building his church. And until we attain the unity of faith and the knowledge of the Son of God. Thanks again.